Good evening, good evening, good evening. Do you know that you can live a life fulfilled where you can flourish and thrive doing what you love, creating wealth for yourself and being a blessing and helping others? Good evening. I'm Dr. Cassandra Washington, and welcome to Life Enhancement and Development Live. And I have a very dear friend with me this evening. You all should know her well. Those of you who have been following me, her name is Bernadette Hicks-Kelly. She is a transformation coach, a business consultant, and she's with me this evening because we have some wonderful information and strategies and tools and resources we want to share with you on tonight. So before we get started, we're going to let her greet you all this evening. It's been a couple of weeks, but how you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you on this evening? I am excited to be here on today. We are March. We are now in March.
March.
It is
That's right.
passing fast. Oh my goodness, this year is moving on. So I am excited.
Good, good, good. Well, I'm glad that you're excited because we're going to talk about something, of course, that we talk about all the time that, we are now experiencing and walking in, and that's doing what you love,
Yes.
finding your niche. That's what we talked about. We're going to talk about tonight, finding your niche or niche, however you want to say it. And when we say that, we're talking about finding out what's unique and specific to you that you love to do. Your calling, that work where you thrive and you flourish, that makes you happy, that you can do and you love doing it, and you can create wealth for yourself and help others, be a blessing to others, provide service to others. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And transformation coach and business consultant Bernadette Hicks is going to help us walk through this. We're going to talk about it. We're going to share some strategies and tools with you. About 3 years ago, I did a conference called Launch 2020, and Bernadette came and she shared with us no longer under construction. And Bernadette, before I get started, I got to tell you, one of the participants in that conference opened a business.
Really? Oh my
Yes. And
God.
she just before we got on, her name is Dolores Williams. Uh,
Okay.
she told me that she still had her notes from 2020 no longer under
Wow.
construction. She opened a boutique, and I can't wait
Wow.
to go and visit her place of business, and of course do a little shopping. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
please tell her, let me know if it's on the website so I can do a little shopping.
Well, that's what we want to talk about. So I'm so proud of her. And I'm just so impressed with her because, she didn't let
Yes.
the dream die. She didn't let the dream die. She went ahead and, she kept her focus and she made it happen. And I told her, I said, you go, girl, you made that happen. And so, that's what we want to talk to you all about tonight. Doing what you love, finding that thing that's specific and unique to you, and you taking it and you making it work for you. Bernadette, you and I were talking about Good Morning America, what we saw
Yes.
that a lot of people are going part-time. And I just want to share this little slide with you. People are opting to go part-time and to work from home. And we know that part-time is 35 hours a week or less. And so this article came up from the Wall Street Journal, and it was posted by, the information that they shared was from the US Department of Labor, how so many people are now going part-time. Before December 2022, it was 837,000. And by January 2023, it was up to 1.2 million.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
And you know
and
what, Cassandra?
mhm,
All it takes for us is to have some downtime. And when we
mhm,
have some downtime, we reevaluate. And that's
right.
exactly what happened. People start to reevaluate and realize they could live on part time, or I could live on no time. I could, I could go and create my business, but I need to work part time to have that time to work on my business. That is awesome. I love those numbers.
Yes, and then they were saying, I think one of the gentlemen, he was saying that he decided that he wanted to pursue his passion. which was farming. And it allowed him to be fulfilled, pursue his passion, and he took what he liked and enjoyed on the side and as a hobby, and he used it to start a business. And
Absolutely.
it allowed him to spend more time with his family, with his children, allowed him to do more volunteer work and be a part of his church, and spend more time in developing his spirituality, his faith. And so he said he would never go
Never.
back to working. Now look, you looking like you can relate.
I can relate. I remember, I often sit and remember just where would I be? I remember in 2002 when
Mm-hmm.
I quit my traditional 9 to 5, and people thought I was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how people have opinions that not a part of your family, not a
Mm-hmm.
part of your household, but feel like they need to tell you their thoughts. They have opinion of what you're doing. They say you're crazy, you make a mistake, you're gonna fail. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't even trying to hear that. I was like, I only want to hear from people who had something positive to say. So
Mm-hmm.
all that they were saying, I was just like, you're not talking to me. You're not talking to me. I dismiss all of that. So I kudos to the people who said, I'm giving up this 9 to 5 corporate office. It doesn't matter. So that shows you the importance of money. There's something way more important than money. The
Right.
value, spending time with your family, spending time with your loved ones, enjoying life. Right now, I tell anyone the most valuable thing I can do during the day is take a nap.
To replenish yourself,
Yes.
rest
And
your
when I
mind
get
and rest your
tired,
body.
yes, I want to take a nap. I don't want someone telling me you can't take a nap. That is the number one thing when you work in these 9 to 5. Someone controls your time, and
Mm-hmm.
I that's a horrible feeling for me is when someone controls my time. Like, do not control my time. When I get tired of sitting in the chair, I want to get up and do what I need to do. I have a friend, and she was doing some consulting business for a number of years. And
Mm-hmm.
when COVID hit, she caught COVID, and just really just changed how she felt about traveling and doing consulting and different things. So, and she works in healthcare, so that changed how she felt about going out in the community and going to hospitals and clinics. So she decided to go back to a 9 to 5 job. And in the process of going to 9 to 5, she's like, I can't do anything. I can't take calls. I can't. And so you would think she would be the one saying, go back, I'm going back into consulting. It wasn't her, it was her husband. He was like, you got to get out of this house. You grumpy, you complain all the time. He's like, I want you out. Go find a consulting job, go find a part-time. But what I don't want you to do is sit all day in front of a computer, because how she processed things had changed. When we
Mm-hmm.
find a better way of life, we can never go back to the old lifestyle. It's just like, you know what? Something changed in me. I don't want to sit in a chair all day anymore. I don't want to answer to someone all the time anymore. So once you become an entrepreneur and you try it and you step out there, it changes how you process. It changes how you think about work now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you were saying, the the changes that she went through. And this is something else, that I noticed too. They were saying the reason why, people go from a 40-hour work week to less, because they feel burnt out. They're not happy. They're looking for something to fulfill them. They want to focus more on their family. And then they realize that their hobby, their passion, they actually can take it and make significant income. And so
Absolutely.
and like you were saying, COVID, when people had all of that downtime, that made people start to do things to try to fulfill and fill in that time, and help them keep their sanity too as well.
Absolutely.
And in
Absolutely.
the process of that time, a lot of people found things that they could do that they really enjoyed and really loved, and that was
Exactly.
really making money for them. And so, that was really a opportunity. There were a lot of bad things going on, and we say this all the time, but it really opened up doors and
It
opportunities
did.
for a lot of people.
It
And I
did.
know it did for me.
I know it did for me. And yes, I was already a business owner, but it
Mhm.
also made me we talk about passion. So I want to throw another word in there as well, is your skills. So,
Mhm.
people are sometimes saying, well, I'm not really passionate about anything, but maybe you're excellent at your skill. So you
Mm-hmm.
take your skill. So if you're excellent at customer service, you excellent at being a personal assistant, then you take that skill and then you go make money with that skill. It doesn't always have to be a burning passion that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Someone may not have always wanted to be a major seamstress or something like that, but maybe you great at just organizing because you work at Walmart. And when you get to Walmart, you stack the shelves, they perfect, they neat. Everybody want to come on your aisle and shop. So if you then that's a skill that you have
Mm-hmm.
mastered how to organize. So now you can take that organization skill and go make money for yourself. You don't have to get money from Mr. Walmart all the time. You go out there,
Mm-hmm.
you can work part-time for Mr. Walmart and use the rest of your time to work for yourself and make some money. So yes, think about your skills as well. The young lady you were saying that started the boutique, that opened a boutique, that's a
Mm-hmm.
skill she learned. So she had customer service skills. She took her skill, not just
Mm-hmm.
her passion. She took a skill that she learned. She had to learn how to organize clothes. She had to learn how to place orders. She had the skills, to do customer service. She had those skills. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, she had a desire, maybe a passion on the boutique, but she also had a skill.
That's right. And sometimes, people are, and they make it hard, because if you just really sit down and think about, what is it that I'm really, really good at? What is it that I'm really, really good at? And a lot of times, and this has happened a lot, you go to school for one thing because you think it's going to make you a lot of money, but then you
Yeah,
actually have the ability and thrive and flourish in another area or another skill set. Well, why
absolutely.
not use that?
You can
Why
use
not
that.
use that to make money for yourself? And of
Absolutely.
course, in thinking about it, using it, you can also provide a service or a product that other people will buy, just like the boutique. What I like about boutiques have unique items.
Absolutely.
You go to a
Absolutely.
boutique, you won't find that same thing. You won't find two or three or four of that same item
No.
in a boutique.
That's what I love boutiques. I'm a boutique shopper. I love boutiques. And so what you were saying is to write down things that you're good at. But you know what I did one day, Cassandra? I sat down and I asked other people, what
Hmm.
do you think I'm good at? When
Hmm.
you see me, what do you see? And so I realized, because sometimes we're good at stuff and we don't even realize we have the talent. We don't realize that we're
Hmm.
good at it. But people come to us. I don't. I'm not a professional resume writer. I say, but you'd be surprised how many people come. Brenda, can you do my resume? Brenda, can you redo my resume? And so I realized, you know what? That's a niche that I have. I can redo
Hmm.
resumes, and so I added that as part of my packages now. So when I'm
Hmm.
helping do consulting, I added resume writing and resume consulting on with that as well. But someone said that I was good at that. That wasn't even anything I thought I was great at. It's just I saw someone's resume and I was like, well, let me see that. As I said, let me
Hmm.
make it pretty.
Uh-huh.
Let
Uh-huh.
me make that resume pretty for you. And I realized by making the resume pretty, when they took
Hmm.
that back, it opened other doors for them. So that was the
Hmm.
avenue that someone else saw in me that I really didn't see in myself. So I tell people, do this
Yes.
exercise as well. The people that are around you, give them a piece of paper and just say, go out with your girlfriends or have some time. I call it a business party. So I'm working on a business party, Cassandra, and have a business
Uh-huh.
party with some people and ask them, when you see me or when you're around me, what do you think I'm good at? Where do you say that I'm
Hmm.
good at? I may not be the best seamstress, so I don't sew that often. I can sew, but I don't sew that often. So nobody gets to see my sewing skills. So when I say I can sew, they probably shocked, like, you can sew?
Hmm.
But when you talk about my sister Tina, she sew all the time. So when they see her, they're like, "Oh, she's the seamstress. Anything you need sewn, she can just give it to her. She can sew it." But they don't see that skill in me because that's not a skill that I use often. So
Hmm.
sometimes we can find other people outside of us telling
Hmm.
us what we're good at. And let me, I like to tell my little expert story. So I have a
Hmm.
couple of expert stories that I tell. I remember, um, I call it
Hmm.
a wet hair moment. I had a wet hair moment. I worked with a gentleman doing some consulting, and his wife came in and her hair was wet. And I knew both of them prior. And so when she came in, her hair was wet. I asked, I said, what is your hair doing wet? And she said, well, Bernadette, sometimes I go down to the Y and teach the children how to swim. And she said, I love teaching children how to swim. But notice what she said. She said, sometimes I go
Mhm.
down to the Y
She goes when
and
she
I
gets
teach them.
ready.
Yes, she goes when she gets ready. Now, notice
Mhm.
I said I know both of these people. So I knew he was always a business owner, but he was also an office manager. He was my office manager. He
Mhm.
started a business and those two got married. And so and she and I used to sit together, in same department, maybe not right next to the same department.
Mhm.
And so he took his wife from in the position that I was sitting in, sent her home. And so when she came in with that wet hair moment, I said, here it is. I am still sitting here working for someone so that she can stay home when she want and go to the Y when she want to. And so that was my wet hair moment. And I call it my wet hair moment because the light bulb came on saying, hey, you have a skill that's so awesome and that's
Mhm.
so great that when this person left the company that you were in, that he approached
Mhm.
me and said, will you come with me? And I was like, okay. Now I left the other company already, but he reached out to me and said, you come and do some consulting work. So he saw the value in me more than I saw in
Mhm.
myself. But
Right.
that day I realized my value because I was like, the only reason she can stay home and go to the Y when she wants to is because I come here and I'm dedicated to sitting in this seat to make them money, not him, them money. And now they
Yes.
give me a little change here or there, and I say change, but it was good money
Mhm.
compared to what the average person was making at the time. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, I was using my prime time to make someone else wealthy. And if we're not careful, we have to pay attention. And I think that becomes
Mhm.
the problem. We're not paying attention because years before I was doing it and I was worried about getting a raise, getting the bonus check because I wasn't paying attention. But when I
Mhm.
really started paying attention, I said, wait a minute, this person sat next to me. They got married. He told her, you ain't got to work anymore. Because guess what? Bernadette gonna work enough to keep both of us wealthy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. So I saw it a little different. Perspective
Yes.
changed, Cassandra. And when my perspective changed, when I
Mhm.
got home that night, I was in a whole nother world. I don't even know when I went to sleep. My girlfriend was there. She was working too. And I said, I'm starting a business. She said, what? I was like, I'm not doing this no more. I said, when this contract is over, I said, I'm starting a business. I'm not working for anybody anymore. She started laughing. She said, Bernadette, I said, I'm not playing. I said, I'm not playing. I'm not doing this
Mhm.
anymore. And it took her to come in and just make those few comments that I go to the Y whenever I want to. I didn't
Mhm.
have no choice. I
Mhm.
could come in at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock. Those were my only two choices, maybe nine. But if I had an excuse, but the choice wasn't you can work from home because at that time, that was in the 1999
Mhm.
stuff like that. At that time, we weren't working from home. You had to
Mhm.
drive, and on top of that, Cassandra, I was driving an hour away, and I had no choice at what time I had to come
Mhm.
when the office opened, and that's most of us. When the
Mhm.
office opened, and when we start and we apply for the
Mhm.
job, what's the first thing they tell us? What your hours are,
Mhm. Yes.
and I
And
had a whole moment.
yeah, and you were saying that your perspective changed, and it's like Rose Graham was saying that where her moment made you realize your value, helped you to realize your
Absolutely,
value. It opened your eyes, and of
it
course, so
did.
you're talking about perspective. That means that you had as some people call it a paradigm shift, or you had
Yes,
a
I
different,
did.
a new way of thinking. The light bulb came on, your mindset began to change, and so when you're talking about it takes a different kind of mindset to say, hey, money is not going to be the priority that drives me.
Absolutely,
These, and that's why a lot of people went from full time to part time or totally left the corporate world and started their own business, went into entrepreneurship, went into a totally different industry. It's because something
absolutely,
happened here. Something happened on the inside. Something happened in their mind that made to begin to see things a different way, to desire something better, something bigger. And when you're talking about, you know, doing what you love, and creating wealth for yourself, you're talking about a whole different kind of responsibility, a
Absolutely.
whole different mindset. And you're going to have a different mindset. You're going to have to transition.
Absolutely.
You're going to
You're
you're
gonna
going
have
to
to
have to
transition.
transition. Huh?
And the other thing is what happened. I think the main thing that happened for me is my stress changed. I
Mm-hmm.
went from having bad stress to good stress. It's the
Mm-hmm.
good stress when you get up and you're trying to meet deadlines and it's your business and
Mm-hmm.
it's your product. It's a bad stress when someone got you stressed out about their deadlines and you got to show up at this time and I need you there and you stressed out in meetings. And I've worked for people like that and been stressed out because you gave me something at the last minute and said put the presentation together. Well, I got to stay up all night and put a presentation together. Now, if I'm going to stay up all night and put a presentation together, I need that to be Bernadette's, okay? But and I think that's what happened with a lot of people. Once COVID hit and people got home, they got a chance to relax. The stress level went down. They got a
Mm-hmm.
chance to walk away from the computer, laptop, because a lot of companies were not prepared. They were not prepared to send people home. So when
Mm-hmm.
people were home, they didn't have laptops, they didn't have computers. People were like, well, I don't know how to get you into the system. So if you can't get in the system, guess what? You weren't working. And if you're not working that day, if you were able to just set yourself free. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
call it. I set myself free. I set my mind free. I set, and I had to budget. Let's talk about budget. When you're
Well,
talking
yeah,
about
but let's just, since you're going to go into budget, why don't you talk about the plan that and strategy that you have to have if you lose the job? Because a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people
mm,
got laid off. A lot of people lost their jobs. Then some people said, "Look, I got to stay at home with my children," and then some people said, "Well, I'm not going back." So if you make those
absolutely.
decisions, what kind of plan and preparation do you need to make to transition to
And
part
I would say
time or entrepreneurship? Hmm.
if you're going to do that, so I wouldn't tell everybody cold turkey quit like I did,
Hmm.
but if I would say make an exit plan, start
Hmm.
planning. How am I going to exit? So especially if there's a team, if there's a husband and wife,
Hmm.
a wife, husband, however it's mixed up these days. So if you have a partner of any kind and you all are working finances together, you got to sit down first and talk to your partner and
Hmm.
talk to your loved one. I would even say talk to your children because your lifestyle is about to change. If you've been going to Disney World every year, 2 or 3 times a year, and all of a sudden mom is working part time or dad is working part time, you're not going to Disney World every year.
Hmm.
You're going to cut back. You're not going to go to Disney World 3 times. So instead of just having a whole big shift and nobody in the family know you're about to make the shift, especially your children, just because we can take change doesn't make always make sense to our children. Now,
Hmm.
if they're 2, 3, that's fine. But if you're talking about an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and you're saying, "Hey, I'm about to move to California," then you got to talk to your children. You got to say, "Look, we're about to make this move. We got to make this change. We're about to change how we do what we eat." All of that is about to change because we're saving money. And why
Hmm.
are we saving money? We're saving money so that when you're an adult, you have a better life. So this isn't
Hmm.
just about us having a better life. This is about you having a better life as a child, but more importantly, you having a better life as an adult. So that when you have children, you have something to pass on to your children as well. So the first thing is sit down, get a real budget together. Now, if you come together and realize that you have $30,000 you need to pay off, don't say we're gonna pay 10,000 this month, 10,000 this month. That's unrealistic. If you
Hmm.
making $18 an hour, you're not gonna pay $10,000 a month. Now, if you got
Hmm.
a savings account somewhere where you can take that money and pay it off, that's fine. You could do that. But if you do not, then you start with your smallest debt and
Hmm.
pay that off. So one of the things that my husband and I do is we take those residual bills, like we have a trash company to come and pick our trash up. So we know that they're going to charge $60 a month. Well, instead of just paying it monthly, you just pay it up for the year. So with
Hmm.
those residual small things that you can pay up for the year, well, your power bill is going to come every month. So I'm not trying to pay my power bill for the year necessarily. But what I do is I may pay 4 or 5 months up at a time. But car notes, car insurance, all of those things that you can go ahead and pay up for the year because the less you have to pay for a month, the less stressful it is. So I would say
Mm-hmm.
make a plan, figure out how am I going to pay some of this stuff up for the month. So maybe you want to leave your job, but you need a 6 month plan. Maybe you need a 1 year plan to say, hey, I'm going to take all of this year and I'm going to pay off all of my debt. Now let's talk about this. What happens if you're not making enough money?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not making enough money, then you got to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
I know when I first started my first business, I had a $250 unemployment check. So I was like, I got to do something to make some money. And I was
Mm-hmm.
starting a business. And so what I would do is I would go to the thrift stores and refurbish furniture. And then
Mm-hmm.
I would sell that. So, and I wasn't doing anything difficult. I was doing like little tables, chairs, things that was simple and easy that
Mm-hmm.
I could do. And I was just winging it. I had never refurbished furniture, chairs, sofas, mirrors, nothing. But when you get desperate enough and you serious about leaving this job, you serious about being debt free, you're gonna do whatever you need to do. For
Mm-hmm.
example, we know Easter coming up, so maybe you need some extra money. Well, you may not be the person that normally make a baskets and giveaways and all this kind of stuff. Well, guess what? You can now be the Easter basket making lady this year, or the Easter basket making man this year. So when you know you got cousins and kids and all this kind of stuff, church members, everybody gonna get an Easter basket, right? Most of the time they're gonna go get their
Mm-hmm.
children. And Easter basket is not cheap no more. You know, ain't no $5 Easter
Mm-hmm.
baskets.
No.
Not with no real stuff in it. If you want some real
Mm-hmm.
stuff and some good stuff, you gonna have to, spend some money, 30, 40, $50 for an Easter basket. Well, why can't you be the person this year that's creative and you make the Easter baskets and you said, now that's the way that you done generated some extra money for yourself. Yeah, you don't always have to go to Mary Kay and sell Mary Kay and you get 50 and she get 50 and Avon get 50 and they get 50%. There's some more creative ways that you can do some things to make some money. Maybe you don't clean house, but in order to make some extra money, find out in your neighborhood. Well, who needs a temporary housekeeper? Wash dishes or just some basic things that you can do that doesn't take up all of your time. But then when you get the money, you got to dedicate the money. So sometimes we get the extra money, we go get the second job, but if we have not assigned that money to what we're really going to do, we're going to waste that too. You're gonna waste that extra money. So when extra money come in, you can't even see it. Why? Because you got bad spending habits. Number one, break the bad spending habits. Once you break those bad spending habits, and it's just the same. You got to practice. You got to practice. Like girl, I would go to the gas station, put the little pump in there because somebody showed me how to put the pump in there, and I go and I get chips and candy and soda and all of that stuff would add up. So I just needed gas. But because I was there and I had time, I would go in the gas station. Now I came out with chips and sodas and cookies and just stuff. And so I learned that when I went to the gas station, I'm just going to gas up and I'm not going in that store and I'm not getting anything. And I began to save money that way. When I go to the grocery store, I'm going with the list. And that's how I begin to save money that way. And again, don't go hungry. By now, we should all know that. Do not go to the grocery store hungry because you're going to get everything.
Well, since you was talking about those strategies, I'm going to throw out some ideas for to you, and you tell
Okay.
me um, what would you advise, or what would you do for a person who's saying that I want to get started in these type of things or these type of professions, but I don't really have much capital, or I don't know
Okay.
where to start. I really don't have anyone to help me, but mainly they want to get started. They want to move into this new area, or they want to take this skill set and make money, make a business out of it. So let's start with a person who may want to be a motivational speaker, or who want to be a teacher, or and preaching. You said you were a motivational speaker, and you do financial coaching and education. So what would you say to a person that says, I think I want to be a motivational speaker. I found that I am good at speaking, and I want to make a business out of this.
Okay. So first, I would say, if you believe that you are speaking, who told you that? Who told you you're good at speaking? So, and when I ask the question, who told you you're good at speaking, or who told you you encourage them? Motivation speaking is simply someone that really encourages someone. If you're going to coach someone, you got to be able to encourage that person to go to the extra mile. And the only way you know you're good at that, someone had to tell you you're good at that because you encourage them. It's not enough to say, "Well, I think I'm good at." No, no, that it's not enough to say, "I think I'm good at that." Make sure that you've helped someone along the way, and enough people keep coming. When people keep coming back to you, you know you're good at it. You're absolutely good at it. At one point we have to tell people, you know what? If this is my business, I'm not going to coach you free because now you're using the name of friendship. Well, just tell me how to do this, how to do that. Well, when you figure out that that's what you're doing a lot and often, and the same people consistently come back, or they tell someone else, "Hey, you need to call my friend because she helped me start this business." Or you need to tell my friend, "I was so depressed, I didn't think I was going to be able to make it, and she motivated me." Then you are a motivational speaker. Or maybe you spoke, or you speak preaching on there as well. So maybe you have that tug. If you have that tug every time you see someone preaching, that you just like, "Oh my God, if I could just get my hands on that mic." Maybe God trying to tell you something, that you're called to a higher calling, that you are called to preaching, or you are called to evangelism. And so don't let the negative things that you've heard people do or say or whatever. And even someone may have told you, "You're not a preacher, you're not a good speaker, you're not this." So just let that go on out your ear. Don't even pay no attention to that, because you'll be amazed at how people shut people down. And a lot of time it's not strangers. It's family members, it's friends that have shut you down with their words. But get past that. If you really feel that that's something you're good at or something you're called to, then just try it. Try it by yourself. Don't say a word. Move in silence.
Yes, and one thing that we did, we started doing videos.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Started doing.
Way out of my comfort zone.
Okay,
Way out of my
here's
comfort
another one.
zone.
So this is something that has really been picking up. Say, for instance, that a person says, "I love cooking. I don't want to start a restaurant, but I want to be able to. I want to be able to share my food, and I have something unique that I like to specialize in, and they want to do a food truck. What would
Okay.
you
If
advise?"
you want
And,
to do a food truck, so maybe you can't even afford the food truck. So what do you do when I can't afford the food truck right now? So then what you do is you go down to like the local warehouse. Or it's plenty of places that still have warehouses. You go down to the warehouse. A lot of those places don't have cafeterias anymore, or the places that did have cafeterias, those cafeterias have closed. Go in there and speak to management and say, "You know what? I want to help bring food or serve." All you got to do is take that manager some food. Start taking the manager lunch. Take the staff some lunch. The secretary and all of that. And if your food is good, you're not gonna have any problems when you go in there and say, "Well, can I start selling to the department? Can I start selling to the people that work here?" They're gonna be okay. But give something away first. That's what I did. I gave my services away first long before I started charging people for it. And if your food is good, and you get into a couple of warehouses, use what you have right now. Don't put it out. Don't keep planning. Don't what if it to death. If you got to take a million places in the trunk of your car, and in the front seat and the back seat, borrow your cousin's truck, you do whatever you need to do. You know how, Christina, you know how you do at the church. If you're going to cook hot dogs and fried chicken and baked spaghetti for your church, do it for yourself. I'm not saying don't do
Mhm,
it for your church, but I'm saying do the same principle. It works. The principle works. Selling is selling. Go sell for
mhm.
yourself, make the money for yourself, and then invest in you a real food truck.
And I thought about when you were talking. I know someone who works at a manufacturing company, and they knew this person who would cook on holidays, and they would let taste the food, and they was like, "Oh, well, can you cook something for me and my family?" And then they told the people at their job about how good the food was, and the manager said, "Well, for the holidays, when we celebrate holiday here at work, do you think she will be willing to cook for us and cater for our office holiday celebration?" And she started doing that, and that's how she just began. And I guess the next one is catering. The food truck and catering can go together. That's how she started getting more engagements and getting more clients, because she started
And I
cooking and selling the dinners or catering at this person's job.
I remember when you said that, Cassandra, it brought me back something back to my memory. I remembered I needed some extra money one time, and I was trying to figure out what was I going to do, how was I going to get this extra money, and I worked for this attorney's office. And what I saw him, and he was just flipping through this book, and I mean, and they was trying to order goodies to give their clients. And I said, well, and it was expensive, like the baskets of just a little basket of peanuts and all this kind of stuff and cheese or whatever. And it was like $200 for the basket, $300 for the basket. And they had no problem with it. And they said, well, we gave that last year. I wish we could find something unique. So of course, I needed money. Girl, let me tell you, when you need some money, you get past every shyness talk. I went right in that office and I said, well, I said, Attorney Megan, I'm sorry. I said, I wasn't listening to your conversation. I said, but you guys trying to order something for the client? I said, well, I have an idea. And so she said, you do? I said, yeah. So I said, well, I can bring you a basket. Now, Cassandra, I didn't do baskets, but I claimed baskets that day. I said, I can do some baskets for the client. And she said, well, how much do you charge for baskets? I said, well, how much are those baskets? She said, well, these are like $200 or $300. I said, well, I can do some really good ones, probably about 150, 180. I said, I'll bring you some and let you see. Girl, I didn't know how to do no baskets. But let me tell you, when she was in there talking about $200 and $300 for a basket, oh, I called my friend. My friend Cynthia did baskets. Girl, I called Cynthia. I was like, I'm on your way to your house. I need you to show me how to do some baskets. So what I'm saying, first of all, listen, be out there listening. If you expecting something from God and you looking for an idea, make sure you listening. So I was praying for a financial increase and I was listening. I overheard a conversation. And I'm not gonna say the conversation wasn't meant for me. I believe that conversation was meant for me. Girl, I got up out of that desk so fast. I was and you know what I had to do, Chris? I had to ask. I had to ask for the business, but guess what? For the next 5 years, guess who made baskets?
You.
What?
Yes, indeed. Well, that's all right. That's what I'm talking about. What about a person who says, I want to write a book?
If you want to write a book, let me tell you where to start. This is where I would say start because, first of all, don't compare your book to anyone else. Now, you can look at books to get some ideas, but don't worry about, who's writing, who's big out there, who's a big author. But there's millions of writers, millions, some good, some bad. It doesn't matter. If you want to write a book, write a book. This is what I would say start with. Start with maybe a journal. Start with a 365-day devotion book. Start small. You don't have to write a whole book, 500 pages. That's not necessary. You can write a simple ebook. Ebooks like 5, 6, 10 pages, 12 pages. But I would say start with something with a journal. Put something for 30 days on the top of the page. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. And so with that said, Cassandra, I'm going to show you something I printed off today. So I printed this off. I know you can't see it clearly. So I had this idea. I said, every day there's some type of day. It's pink day, red hair day, dress blue day. It's something. Groundhog's Day, the cat ran off day. It's some type of day. So this morning when I woke up, I said, well, I got to do these reels that I done told myself that I'm going to do one every day. And I was like, so I had to be creative today. So I went to the month of March and I print off different events that happen in March, what day it is in March. And so when I printed off today, it said March the 2nd. One day was Old Stuff Day. And it had several other things that happened for today, but today was Old Stuff Day. So that gave me something to talk about. I said, well, Old Stuff Day. I need to get rid of some old stuff and get old people clothes. I need to get rid of magazines and stuff in my office, get rid of things in my life that's old and got stale. All of those things I need to get. So I didn't have to be super creative. You can take these same ideas and create a journal, and your first journal could be day 2, old day stuff. It don't make it complex. It can be simple. It can be simple. Sometimes what we're doing is we're making it complex and we're making it hard. So when we start talking about a book, I honestly believe that there is a book, at least one book in everyone, because all of us been through enough. If you pass the age of 5, you've been through enough that you can write a book. Because I can tell you what happened in kindergarten, first grade, third grade. And it's enough to write a book. There's some things inside of you that you need to write about. So I would probably say, just start something simple. Start with a journal, then move up into a devotion, and then move into an ebook, and then move into a whole book. But number one, believe that you can do it. As long as you tell yourself, I can't do it, you can't. Until you say, I believe that I can do it. I know, Cassandra, when I got ready to write my book the first time, I created the cover of my book. I created the cover. I didn't know what I was going to put inside. I just knew what the name of the book was going to be. And I put written by Bernadette, and I put it on my prayer board, and I put it on my vision board. And that's where I left it. And it stayed there for years, just the cover. So start with the cover. And then day one, add a page, write half a paragraph, write something every day, commit to writing something. If not every day, every other day. It's just like journaling. I committed that this year I was going to journal more. Well, I don't get to journal every day. Some days I journal and I can just write because I got a lot to talk about. And then some days I may have a line or two. And then some days I have nothing that I want to journal because I'm too tired. So just
Well,
start. That would be my answer. Start.
but so how do you market it though? Maybe the person has written a book. You remember at the lunch conference, this person had a whole book of poetry, had all this poetry. And sometimes people just don't know what to do to get it out there. They want to share it. They want to share it and they want to use it to make money. Well, just one thing that they probably can do to get it on the market.
First of all, the one thing I would not do, don't worry about how everybody else is doing it. So the first thing, as soon as you say books, everybody say, get it on Amazon. Yes, you can get your book on Amazon, but there's some more things that you can do as well. Have a party. I'm talking about having a business party. Have a a book selling party, just like Mary Kay. I associate everything to Mary Kay. Mary Kay got a bunch of women together, say, hey, help sell my products. And if you sell my products, I'll give you this. You can do the same thing with your book. You can have a subscription, and selling more than just your book. Add an ink pen to the book. Add a notepad to the book. Add something to the book and make a package. So now you got a book and you got a package. We talk about Easter coming up. If I have a book, oh, you're going to get that for Christmas. You're going to get it for your birthday. You're going to get that for every, yes, ma'am. And then I'm going to ask you, hey, if you're going to be giving out Christmas presents this year, will you buy a book? If you're going to be a book for me that you can give out, so ask. I think that's the most important thing is ask your friends, ask your family members. We get disheartened with family members. We get disheartened with our friends sometimes. We're like, I'm not going to ask because every time you ask them something, they always say no. Well, ask one more time.
Right.
Have a party. Everybody like to eat. Have a party and bring some chicken wings over there. They'll show up and they'll get a book for that.
They will. People always show up where food is.
Bring some food.
Now these two, I'm going to put them together because they are really popular right now. Makeup artists and skincare and hair care.
Oh my God. I mean, a makeup artist is, if you can do a little taste of makeup, definitely you need to be on YouTube. You need to be on TikTok. You need to be on anything social media. But this is the thing I think is the problem. Don't just be on there just to show people that you know how to make your face up. What's your mission? So if you're on there and you have, what's the mission? So again, I'm using Easter because Easter is coming up. Start booking people that want their face done. So now you need to be a mobile makeup artist. And okay, I'm gonna see you, Chris. I'm gonna see you Easter morning at 7:00. Be already dressed. I'm gonna put your makeup on. Because if you're gonna need to be at church at 9 or 10 o'clock, then you need to have 7:00, 8 o'clock, 7:30, or maybe you can be in a location and say, hey, y'all, everybody come here and I'll give you an hour at a time and get your makeup done. If you fast and you can do it in 30 minutes, book people for 35 minutes. They give 5 minutes, one person come in and come out. But this is the thing. Don't waste your time doing a whole lot of talking. Do something. Commit to, doing people's faces for Easter. That's what I would do. Every time there's a holiday that's coming up, Valentine's Day just passed, I would have loved for someone to come to my house and do my face up because I don't always want to go out to a glam shop or whatever. And I'm using glam shop because when Morgan went to the prom, they did her face and stuff. And guess what? Those people reached out to me the other day. It's like, hey, we back open. We are available. And if you need your face done, let us know. Go ahead and book your appointment. And that's what if you're a small artist and you're trying to get your business out there, call people, book people, ask somebody if they know somebody, put some birthday packages together. do some gift certificates. I may not need it today, but I could go ahead and pay you, and you can do my face or get a gift certificate, and you can do my face later on. That's exactly what I would do. And you talk about the
Okay.
hair care product. I think with the hair care product, don't get so caught up in what everyone else is doing. Do something different. Do something unique. Everyone is talking about adult hair care. Well, who's doing baby hair care? I remember when my child was a baby and she had a lot of hair. So it was hard because I didn't always want to use adult products on her hair. So I can't just find baby products. The average baby product wasn't, enough for her hair. So maybe somebody whoever's creating this hair product, can you go find something that doesn't have as much chemicals in it so that I can use this on my child's hair as well? And give me some. There's so many creative things that you can do with hair products. And don't worry if somebody else is already doing it. It doesn't matter because when you go to the Asian stores, do you think they care that they Asian cousins down the street? No, they call and say, y'all come on, open 2 more shops over here and get you some hair shops over there. They don't care nothing about that. So don't get caught up with what somebody else is doing. Well, everybody got hair oil now. So get you some hair oil, hair grease, hair soap. It doesn't matter. And that's the thing is change your perspective and change your mindset and focus on you. We did a thing earlier this year that said mind your own business. That's what we're talking about. Mind your own business. If you focus on your business this year, your business will grow. But you can't focus on your business, my business, 20 other people's business. You got to 100% focus on your business and dedicate your time to your business. The more we mind our own business, the more our businesses will grow.
Yes, and you was talking about the hair care products for little girls. I know when Tabitha Brown was doing her hair, she has the most beautiful natural hair, and she created her own product for her hair, and people saw how she would do videos in her routine of doing working with her hair. And when people saw how pretty her hair was and healthy, they wanted what she was using. So guess what she did? She put it in a bottle. She created the
Yeah,
product and she's selling it. And because of who she is and because they see the results, it
yeah,
sold. It
it's
sold and
so
it sold and it would sell out. And I think social media is one of the biggest marketing tools. One of the
wonderful
biggest
marketing
we
tool.
don't have, I don't think people have any excuse to say,
No
I
excuses.
can't get my product out there, or I can't, how do I let people know what I can do? Because if you create
Consistent.
a video, just get on there to just talk about what you're doing. I know with the makeup, a lot of people are just getting on there, making their faces up, showing
Absolutely.
before the process of doing it and outcome. And people
My
see how
niece did
good you
that.
are. Your niece
Yeah.
do. That's right.
My my niece, when Centoria started out, all she was doing was her makeup. And she started with the makeup. And well, at first, I don't even think she started with the makeup. I think she started with the wigs, how to wear your wigs differently. And then she started with the makeup. Well, guess what? Now she got her own eyeshadow brand. You can buy eyelashes from her. She started with lip gloss. She got her own different brands now that she's selling. But she started and she told me, she was getting paid from TikTok, and she was the one and Facebook, and she told me what to do. She was like, be consistent, just be consistent, consistent. And girl, let me tell you, when I got my little $2.50 check, I was so happy because you'd have thought I got $2,000, Cassandra. I was so happy. And you know what it was? Just it was encouraging, even though it was just $2.50. But I had not been consistent enough to get one check. And so now I saw something the other day saying you got, money coming. And it was from Facebook again. And I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I am doing this. And I just consistent, consistent, consistent. That's all it was. And we talked about that, being consistent. Earlier this year, we talked about being consistent. When you say it, just try it, just do it. Don't worry about it being perfect. I know a lot of times we just like, it's the lighting perfect, it's the background perfect, and they say this and they say that. First of all, I don't know they, so I cannot take their advice. And since I don't know they, I just do the best I can with what I have, and it's working. So I'm gonna continue to do what's working.
Yes, 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 and that's right. Nikita Nesbitt was saying social media is a big tool, and Nikita is into Nikita, I think has a program, a radio program, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
Yes. So, these, she was saying that social media is a great tool. And so, hey, Nikita, thank you for joining us. And so, these are things that we can do. But, I know with me at first, although it's talking to a camera, you people are still watching. And, you
Yes.
kind of feel a little, you feel
It's weird at first.
inadequate or intimidated. Yes, you feel intimidated at first, but you just have to keep doing what you're doing until you get comfortable. And sometimes you may never get all the way comfortable, but this is something that you can do to get your product out there or your service out there, and let people see what you're able to do. Let people know what you have to offer. And
Rosanda,
sometimes when people see, they will
so
come, they will pay for it. Go ahead.
I was so uncomfortable doing consulting. I remember so well when I started doing consulting. It was like my first project that I was going to go do, and I didn't know exactly what they thought I was going to do. I just didn't have everything packaged. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't together. We were just having verbal conversations, and I was like, okay, I put it the best I could find on the YouTube, and at that time it wasn't YouTube. It was just Google. I would just Google all I could Google, and I put this package together. And I got out there, did my consulting and everything. And people ask me all the time, well, what made you comfortable? How did you keep doing it? I got my first check. I got my first real check. So when I
Mhm.
got that $21,000 check, it changed everything, honey. I was like, oh yes, I'm a consultant. I'm an expert. What do you It changed it changed totally how I saw myself. So I would tell anyone, if you think you have a good product, you think you have a good idea, if you're sleeping on it, if you can move it enough to get a real check, when you get that real check, Cassandra, nobody has to tell you anything. Nobody has to tell you to get up. Nobody has to tell you to start moving around. I remember when I signed my client that paid the first 20,000 for the year, my first one client that paid $20,000. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing, for Sandra, honey. I was like, oh no, I'm a girl. What? I'm a transformation coach for real. You couldn't tell me nothing. So for someone to pay $16.99 a month, I think it's like $15.99 or $16.99 a month. So when I see that, I'm expecting that. I expect you to pay $15.99 a month because I got something to offer. I got something of value. Now, if you had called me maybe 20 years ago, I would have been questioning, I don't know. But now it brings that confidence. The more you do it and the more you get paid for it, it brings that confidence. I'm not talking about arrogance. It brings a confidence in what you do. And now you want to make it professional. So that's when you start worrying about, is it packaged right? Is it branded right? But don't let people kill your dream. We're talking about, is it branded this? And does all this match? Does the cup and the t-shirt match? Forget all of that, sweetheart. Just wait, get your real check. When you get your real check, then you go work on all that other stuff. So yes, I want the t-shirts and the card with my logo on it and all that kind of stuff. But I got time for that. Right now, I'm just trying to get paid for real, for being a motivational coach and a transformation coach. And when I got that first check, oh girl, what? I was like, I do high end clients. They was like, you do, wait, when I got my first check. So do you do high end clients? Oh yeah, I do high end clients. Mm-hmm. Whole another attitude, Christina. Just
I'm
mm-hmm.
sure.
you know.
That's right. That's right. And so once you start doing, you have to start. You have to start. You have to put yourself out there. You have to put your service out there. You have to put your product out there. And she shared with you all some things you can do to get some income flowing, to get some money flowing. You can't be shy. And when you were talking about the baskets, I thought about when my mother, when she was living, she made some good yeast rolls. I told my mom, I said, "Girl, you can sell these things." And for Thanksgiving and Christmas, I was taking orders at my job, and she wanted to sell them for $3 a dozen. I was like, "That's too cheap. Homemade rolls. You need to up that price a little bit, ma'am." But we were doing good, but she got so uncomfortable with charging people. I was like, "Woman, if you don't come on here and now
It's amazing.
yeast
It's
rolls
but
are
that's yes,
expensive. They are
expensive, but
expensive."
yes.
And so, you just have to get comfortable with, coming, doing some things that you may not normally do. And a lot of times when it comes to money, something that you're really good at and something that you love, you may be doing it as a hobby, may have a problem with charging people. But
And people
hey,
do.
mm-hmm,
Yes. I have
mm-hmm,
I have seen that people be really good. And I remember this evangelist that I worked with a few years ago, and he struggled with charging people. And I was like, why do you struggle with that? He was like, I just feel like people always, again, looking at the big picture, he's like, everywhere you go, people always want money. But this is your livelihood. You're gonna have
mm-hmm,
to get comfortable getting paid. This is your livelihood. This is all
mm-hmm,
you do. So if this is all you do, you're gonna have to get comfortable asking for money. And I'm glad you brought that up, because if you are not comfortable asking for money, then you need to have an administrative person that can help you deal with that, because we can't do everything. And if we are uncomfortable in some areas, maybe we're going to need someone else to help us. So in
mm-hmm,
his case, that was my solution to him, is get you an administrative person that can ask for money, or, do your calendar, tell people what your price is and all of this kind of stuff, or take up your offering for you, so that you're not uncomfortable. Because some
mm-hmm.
things we are way too uncomfortable, and we're never going to get comfortable doing it. So if you feel like there's a place where you're never going to get comfortable, then you need to hire someone to assist you in that area.
Exactly. And since we're talking about money, you gave some ideas of how to get capital, how to get money, get funding. And I want to mention a couple of three places that I know of. And Bernadette, when we did the lunch conference, we had all three of these. We had these three people here, I believe, when we did the lunch conference. One organization I want you all to be aware of is located in Clarksdale, Mississippi. It's called Higher Purpose Corporation. The CEO is Timothy Lampkin. And here is a beautiful young lady named Shaquette Johnson. She's located in Mississippi. She is the Chief Program Officer over programming. This is her email address and her telephone number. And the organization has an event coming up on April the 15th in Greenville, Mississippi. And this is a organization that help entrepreneurs, people who are interested in starting their own business. They have so many programs that are available to help you, to teach you financial literacy, to educate you, and to help you get capital funding for your business. But they're not going to leave you by yourself. They're going to train you. They're going to walk you through. They have courses, they have programs and funds, and to help you get started in your business. And so this will be for men, April the 15th, 2023. You can go to take this information down if you're interested. It is for men, and it will be at the Harlow's Casino, Greenville, Mississippi, April the 15th, 2023. So men, if you have a business idea, if you're interested in becoming an entrepreneur, then I would encourage you to go to that event on April the 15th. And Bernadette, I don't know if you remember Mr. Clifton
I
Williams. He's with
do, Mr.
Guarantee
Williams.
Bank. Yes, he's the community development officer, and he helped to provide capital for our lunch conference. And he was there to provide information as to what you need to do to become an entrepreneur. He also teach classes, financial education classes, to help you prepare yourself. You were talking about this when we started, the plan and strategy that you have to have in place if you plan to transition into entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
if you plan to come off your job, if you plan to go part-time, if you've lost your job. You need to
Yes.
be educated. And of course, the last one is Hope Credit Union. This is the CEO, Bill Bynum of Hope Credit Union. Hope Credit Union has a community development program. It helps, this program will teach you what you need to do if you want to purchase a home, start a business, get capital. All of these programs and all of this
Wow.
information, these resources are there. You just need to tap into them. You just need to reach
Absolutely.
out to them so that you will be able to get the resources and finances that you need, the education that you need. Because sometimes,
Yes.
as we've been talking about tonight, you just don't know the information. You don't know the terminology. You don't know how you need to learn about finances. You need to learn how money works. You need to find out how to market. I remember when you did the lunch conference, you talked about what you did when you did your first conference.
Yes.
That you
Yes.
called friends and told all of your friends to
Invite somebody.
invite somebody. And you charged how much? I think you said
$50 a
fifty
ticket.
dollars. $50 a ticket. But that's what you did to get
Sure
to, you
did.
know, to get capital, to get the money. And you used that money that you got from the conference to do some other things. But that's how you got
Absolutely.
into motivational speaking.
Absolutely.
See
That
what
was my
I'm
first, didn't have a clue what I was doing, but believed I could do it.
Yeah, so we talked about motivational speaking earlier. You know, if you believe that you have a gift to speak, get on here and do some videos and say something encouraging.
Yes.
Say something
Yes.
encouraging. Say what's in your heart to encourage people, to uplift them. You know, if just like she was saying, invite a few of your friends over. I know when I first started teaching on my own, I invited people to our home, and my mama made lunch for us. My mother made lunch
Yes.
for us, and that's what I did. And then that led from one thing to another and to another. And when people saw what I was doing, people were giving. People started
Yes.
sowing and giving into what I was doing. So it's just a matter of putting yourself out there, being willing, not, get over the shyness, get over the fear, get over the shyness and get over the fear, and just do it.
Just do
Do
it.
it. Put it out there, and know that you're enough. You are enough. And what
Yes.
you have, you talked about being valuable. You have to know that what you have to offer is valuable. You can take what you are skillful at, what you're good at, what you love to do, and you can make money. You can provide significant income for yourself, and you can be fulfilled and happy and love what you do at the same time. I just think one of the most devastating things is to get up and go to a job every day that you hate.
And be
Get it, to
miserable.
me, that is draining. That
That's
is
right.
that is draining. So if you know that you have something else that's burning on the inside of you, make plans. Make a
Yes.
plan. Make a plan, have a strategy. We talked about some things that you can do in some of the areas. There's a whole lot of other things you may. I know somebody started a lawn care service. My brother, my oldest
Yep.
brother, when he was much younger, he had gotten laid off of work. Guess what he did? He had one of those old lawn mowers, one of those push mowers, and he went throughout the neighborhood
Mhm.
and he mowed people's lawn. And
Yep.
that's how he made money until until he was able to get into other work. You just got to be willing to do whatever it is that
Willing.
you need to do. Bernadette, do you have
Absolutely.
any closing things you want to say before we sign off?
As I mentioned before, we do have a business party coming up. I heard someone say instead of having a baby shower, have a business party. So in
Hmm.
2023, I will be launching my first business party. So I'll be sharing more information for Sandra about that, working out the details. But
All
I'm
right.
excited about that, to do a business party.
Awesome. So this is Bernadette's information. The name of her business is Effective Transformation. She's a transformation coach, a business consultant. She has a website called effectivetransformation.com. You can find her on Facebook. Just type in Effective Transformation. You can find her on Instagram with Effective Transformation and Ask Burn. So her information is there in case you want to reach out to her. She just told you she's getting ready to do a business party. She does have events where she works in small groups to help you. She's also a business consultant and transformation coach where she works one-on-one with clients. So if you may want to hire her to help you come up with the plan and the strategy. If you want to you feel like you can't do it on your own and you need that support, you need that coaching, you need that help to help you transition into this new industry or this new life that you want of having your own business, or just cutting down your work hours during the
Yes.
week, going from 40 hours to 25 hours to 35 hours, because you want to fill in that time. Take that time to do the things that you really want to do, you really want to love. Maybe you want to do more community service or do some
Yes.
volunteering. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family and have some time to travel. One of the most educational things I think you can do for your children is take them on trips, travel.
Yes.
That is one of the best way to educate them and to help them to learn new things. Well, you guys, this have been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Lisa Beckworth Jenkins. We hope that we have said something to really encourage you all. And we want you to live your best life. Live your best life. And take that jump. Take that as they say, that leap of faith. Step on out there. We're examples that you can do it. We're
Absolutely.
just, all kinds of stuff come to your mind. You're gonna end up on the street, you're gonna be homeless. Just all kind of stuff. No, you're not. If you plan it right, if you do it right, and if you stick to it, you're going to see the results
You're
that
gonna
you
make
like. And I always say, as they say, men on the Men Warehouse commercial, you're gonna love the way you look.
you're gonna
You're
love
gonna
the way you look.
go love the way you look. all all right, you guys. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you again, Bernadette. You all have a good evening, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.